In response to that, I got called a slut on, no, not Tumblr, it was the 4chan.
CGO?
Yeah, 4chan.
That's 4chan.
Yeah. I found my picture posted there, and it's like, wow, she's a real bleep. It's like, wow.
Yeah, and those are people that have nothing better to do with their time.
Wow, they got that picture from DeviantArt. Thank you.
We do one more question, then move on.
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Oh, I've had that happen to me too. Like this is when I started cosplaying in 2009. I cosplayed Katara cosplay, and someone came up to me and said, "Thank you for recognizing that Katara is black." And I said to them, "No, Katara is Inuit. She is brown because Inuits come in all kinds of colors. She just got the lucky gene of being a brown character, but she can cosplay Katara really well." Because another Katara cosplayer was standing next to me, and her costume she made herself, and I'm like, she looks really awesome. Take that back. And he had nothing to say, so I couldn't and that was my first time cosplaying, and I was just I was so taken aback of somebody, and this is a young kid too. He would look like he was 11 or 12. And he said, "Thank you for recognizing that Katara is black." And I'm like, "Child,
Where are your parents?
Child, you better learn something."
So speaking of cosplaying and comments at the con, we're going to go to the next slide, which has a lot more information about, how to deal with criticism and shaming while you're at a con. And in general, many people don't really come up to you at an event to your face. I mean, it's happened. It's definitely happened to me. I don't know if they've come up to you in person at a con and harassed you.
About my appearance.
Yeah.
I've been sexually harassed before.
Oh, me too.
And that's a story for another time because it's not rated G.
Yeah.
And this is a family-friendly convention. But I've definitely been fat shamed online though. I've had several costumes where I've had anonymous posters who have made fun of my appearance online. But I have been harassed at conventions to my face. Yes, ma'am.
I actually have had an experience like that online. A couple years back, I did a Satoko cosplay from Higurashi.
Oh, yeah.
And the best series ever.
It was great, but I didn't have the wig yet, and my hair was long, brown. So I only had the dress and, the bear and the headband. And someone commented saying, "Wow, you're really pretty, but you would make a much better, insert other character here." And, they were posting these nice pictures of me, but, they were saying, if you don't have the wig, you should, change your cosplay, because you don't really you're not accurate.
I have a friend like that.
Yeah.
And it made it I was indifferent about how to feel about it, but now I'm like, you ain't gonna be a jerk like that.
Yeah, and that's, people are gonna just be jerks in general. I mean, and like Christina said, if you're gonna put on a costume, you're gonna expect people to notice you. If you're wearing a brightly colored wig, people are gonna notice. If you're wearing a schoolgirl uniform, it's different than normal day wear. That's the point. It's a costume. So people will take notice of you. And if you are uncomfortable with that, stick to something that's a bit more closet cosplay, maybe something that's not as bright or as colorful, and kind of ease into it. But you do have to expect people are going to notice.
Oh, yeah.
But my way about it, if people are going to make comments, I usually just don't respond, either whether it's online or in person, because they know nothing about me. They don't know what I love about the character, why I'm doing this, and why I'm comfortable. Me personally, I do a lot of skin-tight costumes. I'm doing 2 midriff-bearing costumes this con. I lift weights 6 days a week. I'm a personal trainer. Fitness is kind of my life.
I actually plan on doing Harley Quinn soon.
So they know nothing about how much care I put into my own health first and foremost. So if they want to say, "Oh, you're too overweight to do this," I'm like, okay, you don't know anything about me or what my habits are, what my life priorities are.
Yeah.
You're not important. So, but if you do feel bad, and it's not as easy for people to let it slide off and just not think about it. But sometimes it really can get to you, and it's not worth letting the con be ruined just because one person or a few people said you don't look the way the character should. Find friends, because most people go to cons with friends, and if you don't find friends, find people you were talking to during the day who were nice. Talk to them, find them and be like, this person was being a jerk because they said I looked too this or too much like this or not enough this. people will support you. If you look, you will find people who will have your back. Go find them.
Yeah.
Don't spend any more time on the people who are harassing you.
I've come to MomoCon for a lot of years. I also go to AWA and StationCon, and like even when I was like in my early teens, I'm 18 now. My mom actually trusted me to wander around by myself because the community was so nice and caring. Because I often noticed that if someone was crying or someone like lost their phone or something, everyone was like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, yeah, let's help you." Yes. Yeah, and I thought that was really nice. And then I kind of found out about the whole body shaming, racism thing, and it took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Right behind.
Right behind. Yes.
No,
you.
Okay, I wanted, on another note on how you all said people are going to be a jerk anyway, I've seen from people who are overweight and they shame them, I've seen to people who were like bombshell bodies and they still have something bad to say about their cosplay. So like they said, some people actually just get on the internet just to bother people.
Yes,
So
I
have an uncle that does that.
Yes,
it's annoying.
It makes themselves feel more
The
superior, but
of
in
jerks
reality,
and people
they're,
who don't know how to act in public.
probably
It's
still
going to
in their
happen no
parents'
matter what.
Right.
The internet amplifies it. But
Yes.
at the con itself, you do have the community factor. You can fall back on the community. But at the same time, if you are going to choose to wear a costume, you have to accept that people are going to say things. So there is a certain maturity for the cosplayer as well that needs to happen. One suggestion I can give, and I'll preface this by saying that I'm older than I look. My husband and I are in our mid-40s and been going to conventions, not necessarily cosplay conventions, more science fiction, fantasy originally, but still dressed up for more than 20 years.
Oh, wow.
If you cannot walk down the street and put up with the catcalls, then you probably shouldn't be wearing the costume. Okay? Their jerks are going to be everywhere. You just have to deal with it. But I'll tell you one thing that I say to people when I walk down the street in 13th century garb. First of all, I probably got a knife on my hip.
There you go.
I turn around and ask them, would you say that to your mother?
Yeah.
Would you say that to your sister? Now, I will tell you, my mother says those things to me. So I had to learn at an early age to put up with that stuff. But you have to learn that if you're going to do this, you are going to get comments. But you can turn it back on the commenter.
Yes.
You can't do that online because the commenters will just
Yeah.
run them.
They have that in the
But
button.
in person, if somebody says to you, "Oh, you don't have your wig on, you shouldn't do that costume," or "You shouldn't wear that because you're not the right color," or whatever, turn it back on them.
Yeah.
Actually,
Exactly. And actually, that's I'm really glad that you said that. I was trying to think of a nice way to say that in this panel, and you pretty much just hit the
But
nail
you
on the
need to
head.
do it
A good
without,
example
and
of,
one of the things
like-
that has happened in the comments a little bit too, do it without being rude yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
No four-letter words, don't call them, and I'm not going to repeat the word that both the panelists and the audience have already said multiple times. This is a G-rated con. There are 12-year-olds here. Please keep the four-letter words and the non-four-letter words that can't be said on television in your pocket.
Yes.
So holy
At the risk of sounding like
Yeah.
a teacher, clean it up.
or Bob
Because
Saget.
they're going to listen to you
There you
more
go.
if you speak like a mature adult. Regardless of your age.
Actually, a good example of I just thought of this because of the media and everything. A good example of being mature when you're out in public, people are going to notice you is the way Justin Bieber acts. Don't do what he does. Don't be Justin Bieber, please.
But Bieber's not the only one.
Yeah, he's
Don't
not
put
the
the camera
only
in
one.
somebody's
Yeah.
face.
Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
We're
stare
gonna take
at
the two
you,
hands that are up, and
Yeah,
then we're gonna go to our next slide.
We're
We're trying to run a little
over,
late.
so
Yeah.
We're gonna take Kelsey and then this comment from this young lady in the back, and then we're gonna move on. Yes.
So this is a whole thing about body image and stuff like that. I want everyone to know, I hate admitting this, but I weigh 100 pounds, and I have been told I was too fat for a costume. What? I was dressed up.
I believe it.
I was
It's
dressed
sad,
up
but I
as
believe
Ariel.
it.
Oh my god.
You look
great though.
You look
And
good.
I was dressed up as Ariel, and someone said, "You need to put that gun away." straight to my face.
Can I just add, she's taller than me and weighs less than me.
So
I'm really thin too, so like,
media and all that stuff, it's unrealistic standards. I mean, I try to stay healthy and all that.
The women in the magazines don't look